This content is for educational and informational purposes only and is not medical advice, a diagnosis, or treatment. Listening or watching does not create a doctor-patient relationship. Always consult your physician or qualified healthcare provider for a personal medical decision, especially if you're pregnant, nursing, taking medications, or have a medical condition. If you think you may be experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
Welcome to Let's Talk Holistic Hope. I'm your host, Rachelle Wilson, a naturopath and wellness expert. And on this show, we get to the root of chronic illness and nagging symptoms with an enlightening mix of functional medicine, biblical wisdom, and straight-up common sense. Each week, I'll break down the mystery of your fatigue, brain fog, gut drama, weight gain, and hormone chaos, and show you simple ways to heal in body, mind, and spirit. Because God didn't design you to live stuck in survival mode. Grab your lemon water, friend. Let's get into today's episode. If you've been to doctor after doctor and your labs keep coming back normal, but your body is anything but normal, this podcast is for you. Because I've been that person, and I know how lonely it feels to suffer quietly while everyone else thinks you're fine. Hey, friend, and welcome to the very first episode of Let's Talk Holistic Hope. I'm your host, Dr. Rachelle Wilson, naturopathic practitioner, woman of faith, and before any of that, I was a patient searching for answers. Today, I want to tell you the story that changed everything. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's familiar. And if you've ever wondered, why is this happening to my body? You're in the right place. So here's what I want you to know up front. This podcast exists to help you connect the dots between chronic symptoms and root causes, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. We'll talk about the body and the heart, science and faith, practical steps, and real hope. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all together. You just have to be willing to listen and to heal. So let me take you back to where this journey really began. There was a season of my life where my body felt like it was constantly waving red flags, not all at once at first. It started quietly, subtly, in ways that were easy to explain away. I remember thinking, I'm probably just stressed, or this will pass, or everyone feels like this sometimes, right? But it didn't pass. Instead, more symptoms showed up, and over time, they began to stack on top of each other. Heart palpitations that would come out of nowhere and leave me frozen with fear. I had brain fog that was so thick, I struggled to think clearly or find words. My gut issues, whoa, that made eating feel like a gamble instead of nourishment. Hormonal imbalance that affected my cycles, my energy, and my emotions. Infertility, a quiet grief I carried while trying to keep going. I had crippling anxiety, and then depression layered on top of it. I had immune problems that made me feel fragile in my own environment. And eventually, melanoma skin cancer, which absolutely shook me to my core. And then the allergies came. I had food reactions so severe that my body began to rebel against almost everything that I ate. I reached a point where I could only tolerate 2 foods for a month at a time. 2 foods. I lost weight rapidly. My body became weak. I didn't even recognize myself in the mirror anymore, physically, emotionally, even spiritually. Mornings became something that I dreaded because I would wake up already exhausted, anxious, and already wondering what symptoms I'd be dealing with that day. Would my heart race? Would my stomach revolt? What if this happens in public? Would I be able to function? Eating became so stressful. Social situations became really complicated. Travel really felt impossible. And even planning felt unsafe. And the hardest part wasn't just the physical symptoms, it was the confusion. I didn't understand why my body was doing this. I didn't know what was wrong. And without answers, fear slowly crept in. At night, when everyone and everything was quiet, my thoughts would spiral. I would think things like, what if this never gets better? What if this is just my life now? Or what if my body is permanently broken? If you've ever lived in that space where your body doesn't feel like a safe place to live, you know just how isolating that can really be. And I want you to hear this clearly. I wasn't lazy, and I certainly wasn't careless. I wasn't even really ignoring my health. I was trying desperately to get answers. So I did what most people do when something is wrong with their body. I went looking for help, appointment after appointment, specialist after specialist, cardiologists, dermatologists, gastroenterologists, endocrinologists. If there was an ologist after their name, chances are I sat in their waiting room. And if you've been there, you know the routine. You sit in a cold waiting room flipping through outdated magazines. Your name gets called. You walk into a small room and you repeat your story again. You list your symptoms. You try to be concise but thorough. And you hope this time someone will hear something differently. So then they run labs and they scan results and they nod. And then you hear it. Well, everything looks normal. Or your labs are fine. Or this is definitely anxiety. Or the one that feels like a door shutting. There's nothing else we can do. I remember leaving appointments feeling smaller than when I walked in. Not because everyone was trying to be unkind, of course, but because the system is limited. No one really asked what my life looked like. No one asked what I'd been carrying emotionally. And no one asked about stress or trauma, grief, or even faith. They were looking for disease. And because they couldn't label it neatly, they missed the bigger picture. And over time, my hope eroded. I began to feel like a collection of symptoms instead of a whole person. Like I was just too complicated, too messy, like it was too hard or I was too hard to figure out. And then there was the last appointment, the one that I'll never forget. The specialist looked at me and said they had done everything that they could. They didn't know what was wrong, and there was nothing else that they could do. That moment felt like the floor dropping out from underneath me. Let me pause here because this is where some of you are listening from right now. You've done the tests, you've tried the medications, and you've followed the instructions, and you're still sick. And what hurts the most isn't just the symptoms, it's the feeling of being dismissed. I went home that day completely empty. And I remember thinking something that still grips my heart when I say it. When you have no health, nothing else feels valuable. That was the lowest point for me. I went home that day absolutely and completely empty. I didn't call anyone. I didn't try to distract myself. I just went home, went into my bedroom, and I shut the door. And I remember thinking, I've done everything I know how to do. That night, something in me finally broke, but not in a hopeless way. I locked myself in my room and I cried out to God, not polished or religious, just honest. I told him how tired I was, how scared I was, and absolutely confused I was. And then something else came pouring out. I told him how sorry I was. So sorry for all the years I had taken my body for granted. Sorry for pushing through exhaustion instead of listening. I was sorry for ignoring the quiet signals before they became screams. And then I said something that I didn't even realize would become my life's mission. God, when you heal me, because I believe that you will, I promise that I will never take this body for granted again. I will learn how to care for it. I will steward it with wisdom. And I will dedicate my life to helping others heal, especially the ones who feel like nobody can help them. Something shifted that night. Not instantly, and certainly not physically, but spiritually. Hope moved from my head into my spirit. That prayer didn't end my struggle, but it gave my struggle direction. Along the way, I discovered something that became the foundation of how I practice today. Healing isn't just about fixing what's broken, it's about restoring what's been ignored. I quickly realized my journey wasn't just about me, it was preparation. And that's where Renewed Hope was born, not as a business first, but as a calling, a place where science and faith work together, where symptoms are listened to, not silenced, where the body is treated like a temple, not a machine. Renewed Hope became both a practice and a ministry because your body is not against you. Your symptoms are not random, and healing is possible. Here on Let's Talk Holistic Hope, we'll talk about gut health, hormones, anxiety, inflammation, trauma, nervous system healing, and faith based restoration, practically and compassionately. If this episode made you feel seen, I invite you to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming. And before you go, take a quiet moment and ask the Lord, God, what places of pain in my life have you been trying to turn into purpose? You can connect with me at www.therenewedhope.com or on social media through Facebook or Instagram at Renewed Hope, a Center for Holistic Health and Wellness. Or you can email me at let's talk at theholistichopepodcast.com. Come back next week for episode 2, where we'll unpack why your symptoms aren't just physical and how the deeper layers of stress, emotion, and spirit can show up in the body. Until next time, keep choosing hope, keep trusting Jesus, and keep healing from the inside out.
Ooh, that was good. Thanks for hanging with me today. If this episode brought you clarity or hope, would you do me a quick favor? Take 30 seconds to share it with a friend. Leave a 5-star rating or write a short review. It helps this show reach more people who need real answers too. Want to keep the conversation going? Come hang out with me on Facebook at Renewed Hope Holistic Health. The link's in the show notes. Or better yet, let's talk. Book a free 15-minute discovery call and let's see how I can support your health journey spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Until next time, keep your faith strong, your gut happy, and your hope holistic.